Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and it's about an hour and a half before the close on Synthetic Friday before the long weekend. So, just kind of wanted to wrap things up a little bit. Beating the punch here a little bit in the end of day video. But hey, listen, a really nice gift basically going into the long weekend where we're seeing a really nice rally and couple day rally at this point. And it does seem like, by the way, that we're starting the month off just like we did last month too, pretty strong. So it's all about management at this point with what you're doing with your portfolio or your trading account, and basically the way that I kind of look at things, and of course not giving out any recommendations or anything like that. Everything in this video is for information purposes only. But the way that I look at things is that buying the dips and selling the rips right now are working. And I don't think that you really have to chase too much. I think this market is giving you opportunities. So, if you got a little bit, too heavy with positions, today's a great day to kind of sell a little bit into strength. I love that when that happens. I get grumpy sometimes the beginning of the weekend when the market sells off on a Friday and it doesn't, we don't end well, and I can't sell positions into strength. You have to make decisions about what you're going to do. This is easy, right? So that's basically what I'm doing, and maybe I put on some type of SPX call spread just so I have some exposure. But again, I'm not selling all my positions, but I basically have like a bandwidth where I kind of load up a little bit more on positions and on dips, and then I take I take a lot of positions off and increase my cash position as we go into a long weekend where we've rallied. So and then it's kind of rinse and repeat. So I think this is really nice. In terms of option activity, these Chinese internet names are absolutely on fire. I was making a reference to this morning, talking about the U.S. internets versus the Chinese internets. This is a chart that I've brought in here a couple times. But if you look at the KWeb ETF, and again, it always makes sense to look at, like, whenever you're looking at a ratio chart. If I can find this, here we go. To make sure that you're looking at these things in isolation too, right? So this is the chart of the Chinese internets in the numerator and the U.S. internets. So KWeb, Chinese Internet ETF, versus the U.S. Internet ETF FDN, Frank David Nancy, and you could see this week, right? You had a little bit better performance by, basically the FANG stocks, the U.S. internet names, but you could see the Chinese internet's catching up really, really closely. So, if we take a look at this, first of all, there's a VPOC coming up here, another one. And if we look at this in terms of the weekly chart, we're basically all the way up at R2, which means they've had one hell of a year. The Chinese internet names, and it's mostly out of your more spec names, right? So like the PDD, which I think is probably the best performer. Look at this thing. Look at the touch off of the top of value, and it's gone from 33 to 99 in a matter of a few months at the end of March. So pretty amazing performance. And again, the reason why I'm looking at some of these names, the smaller cap ones, is because they don't get as big of a weight in that KWeb ETF. I think Alibaba is the biggest weight in there. PDD, and then if you look at Billy is another one. These things are just up and to the right. IQ seeing call activity today. This one may have a little bit more juice left to run. I continue to position in this JD.com, which has a nice move out of a little bit of consolidation here. So, I think just kind of talking about the best performing group of the day. Interesting, these regional, not Chinese internets, these regional banks the banks just continue to struggle. They're basically all the way back to almost flat for the day and underperforming again. So, interesting there again. If we look at this week's performance, Interesting, the utilities. You don't hear a lot of talk about the utilities this week, but they actually have had a really nice bounce. And again, I know they're not sexy, but they're a hell of a lot easier to play in options considering there's not a lot of volatility there. Sorry, there's not a lot of expensiveness, implied volatility in the options, but they're your best performers. But overall, again, you see the banks on the bottom of the list, which is almost what we've been seeing, give or take, besides 1 or 2 weeks here and there. Yeah, the banks and the oil names have been on the right side of this, on the underperforming side, and then you have, of course, tech and a bunch of other areas, biotechs. Which, how did they finish for the week? I don't see them on the list. Healthcare finished up 3.1%. Let's look at the biotechs here. If you're looking for a little bit of digestion after this breakout, this is not a bad place. I unwound some August calls. I made a really some nice money on a real nice trade, a breakout of value, which we caught perfectly in the biotech ETF. And I'm in August option. I was in August options, so I decided to get out of them because there's a limited time frame in them. But I think overall, this biotech group looks great. Let's see what the software group looks like as we head into the weekend. Up and to the right, very, very strong. That is one area of concern, is that the Qs probably getting a bit stretched at this point. I was reading Helene Meisler's column today in Real Money, and she was saying that the sentiment is super, super hot. Basically in the Qs, that is that's the DSI, I think, is over 90. So the reason why I'm kind of talking about this now is because, give yourself, again, I'm not telling you what to do, but I think taking some profits here, and anytime we basically have a little bit of a dip in the market, which I don't know when that occurs, but buyers come back in. So I think that's how, to position. We're just starting the second half of the year. So as always, like, don't feel rushed to make money. Let the trades come to you, and I think we'll have a great time in the second part of the year. I put out a video yesterday on my P&L. Very happy about that for the first half of the year, but as I said in that video that I put together yesterday, basically wipe the slate clean. If you had a great first half of the year, if you had a bad first half of the year, we're on to the second part of it, and we're on to a new month. So, make good decisions. Don't force trades, and try to do a little bit of that, buying the dip and selling the rip, and trade a little bit like a ninja, right? Look for some really good opportunities. So that's it for this for the video. I think that's basically all I wanted to cover, and yeah, and basically, be patient, and try to let some of your winners, ride some of those really nice winners that you've had. Okay, that's it, guys. Have a great long weekend. Have a happy 4th of July to everybody, and please be safe out there. And of course, I'll see you guys back on Monday. But if you remember, we do all of this stuff, right? So macro and single stock video, and for the weekend. So of course, still we'll be looking for some opportunities. Maybe we'll have a little bit less of a watch list to start the week, but if we do get some type of volatility for whatever reason, that's really where I would want to kind of come back and attack this market a bit. All right, guys, enjoy your long weekend. Thank you.